Hello and welcome to my new house that I bought a couple years ago. This video is not about the house though. I'll make a video about that later. I know it's been a couple years since I made a video, but this video is about that porch right there. Those 5 solar panels and that inverter. So let's go in. Let me tell you about the setup. So this is a pergola that I built. You can see I extended the gutter onto it after it was finished, and maybe you can see it, maybe not, I don't know, I sealed the roof to the panels. The roof overlaps the panels a little bit, but it is a freestanding pergola, so no code problems here. And you can see I have Bihoku bifacial 445 watt Canadian solar panels. They produce an output voltage of about 240 open circuit altogether in series like this. At 10 amps, they produce 2400 watts at their maximum peak efficiency, but that they'll never do that in reality. So let's go see what they're actually doing. Oh, and just so you see, I have solar disconnect there, and that's my conduit poking out of the wall that runs through the house. So I've run the conduit through, and along with this conduit over to, you can see my battery bank of eco-worthy 280 amp hours in series, making 51.2 volts. It's about 14,000 kilowatt hours, and this is the cheapest setup you can have for it. Unfortunately, there's no BMS like connectivity to the inverter, so we have to have a battery balancer, and that battery balancer will keep this balanced at all times, no matter what the voltage of the batteries are. So that allows us to just run this without BMS connectivity. And I do have Wi-Fi BMSs in each one of these, so I can see that, and they are currently exactly balanced out. I don't know what they're at right now because it's charging, as you can see as we speak. It's changing. So this is a temporary wiring setup. I do need to add a disconnect breaker here, but it's okay that we don't have it right now because you can see that 300 amp fuse right there. So if something were to go wrong, it is safe. The breaker is just so you can connect and disconnect when you want to work on the batteries, or in this case, you can see I will have to trim back this rubber sheathing on these covers and add some more. I have some of this shrink onto there to cover those, just for safety's sake. And this wiring is temporary. I am going to eventually hook up insulating splice connectors here over to a secondary 60 amp main breaker here, and that will run with a conduit to the input here, and then our output will run with conduit into here to a interlocked 50 amp right here, so that we will be an off-grid setup with pass-through. Now there's a reason I want to do that, because right now we're running grid tied with batteries, but as you can see, we have no backup power. If the power goes down, if the grid goes down, we lose power to the whole house in this setup. But I wanted to run the zero export mode first. And everyone's been having problems with the zero export mode with this inverter because basically the manual is very poorly, very poorly translated. And I'll just show you in the settings how badly everything is named, essentially. Of course, well, we're using exactly pretty much right now. These are our CTs. So this is measuring what's coming in from the grid. So it's 1 watt, and that proves the zero export right there. But we're using a lot of power right now, so that's 900 watts being used on line 2, 700 on line 1. Air conditioning's kicking. It's a 98-degree day today, boys. So yeah, we're making 1943 watts of solar right now, and 1674 is going to the grid And we have no output, so that's just sitting at its idle voltage and wattage usage. But in our history, you can see here, we have charged the battery today at 1 kilowatt hour. We've put 1 kilowatt hour into the batteries today. We've put 7 kilowatt hours into the utility. Oh no, we've generated 7.4. We put 1 into the battery, and we've put 5.4 of it into the AC. And you're probably thinking, well, wait a minute, we're missing some kilowatt hours. I'm gonna show you. This unit takes power to run. It's an inverter, and we've got settings that make the utility to grid safer. So 50 watts is used as reserve all the time, just to keep this number from going negative. We never want that number negative, because that means we're backfeeding the grid. So that number, we have 50 watts of reserve power. So this is using 50 watts all the time to keep that from happening. Plus it's using the power it needs to run. So hopefully we'll see it start charging again soon, but you see it's not discharging the battery right now, because we've got it set not to. And I'm going to show you how to set all this so that it works with zero export. And I'm going to explain it to you. Like, I'm going to describe it as I'm go through the settings in a way that you will understand. So here our AC output mode priority is hybrid. That's how we get into hybrid mode. Our output phase and all this just stays default. I have turned on power saving mode, but 120 volts, 60 hertz UPS, that's standard. Our charge priority is forced into hybrid when we're in hybrid mode. AC output 180. I've changed this charging current to 60 amp because I don't think we'll ever make more than that for charging off the solar, and I don't want the utility to charge this ever. So there's our max AC charge current, 60. Even if it did pull from the utility, it would only push at 60. I just don't want to charge fast. All this is still stock settings. So now we go into hybrid. So here's where we change current anti-reverse CT. We want that to be the setting for zero export. Zero export power is 50 watts. Again, like I said, this is our reserve power, so we do not backfeed the grid. The default setting was 25. Some people say you need 100. I think 50 is okay. Our hybrid priority, we do enable that, because if you do not, then it's gonna send the PV to the batteries instead of the utility, basically. I don't know, it just makes weird things happen that don't work right the way you want. You want your solar to charge your batteries and send to the utility. So you want to send your solar to the utility, and what you're not using on the utility, you charge your batteries. And that's what the hybrid priority means. I guess turning that off would send it to the batteries and then not to the utility, and it would use the batteries for the utility. But you have to get to the setting that I'm about to show you for that to even work. So, and of course you need the external CT get host enabled to use the CTs. So now we go into battery settings. Now, of course, I'm running LFP16. That's what a 51.2 volt setup is. The 280 amp hour, I think that's only for lead acid. I don't think that matters, but I said it anyway. Constant charge voltage, floating charge voltage, these are standard. 58 volt, 54 volt, those are standard settings for LFP16. Same with recharging voltage. That means that when we're below 53 volts, we want to charge the battery. We want to prioritize charging the battery. Now these battery power to mains battery to power to battery, those are only for battery mode, and battery mode is pass-through mode, which is what I described in the wiring setup that I want to eventually set this up to, and I will. I gotta buy some things, and I gotta have a electrician come out here to do the interlock. It's gonna happen. It's just gonna take probably another couple weeks to a month. Anyways, so those two settings are for that. So 51.2 volts is 20% charge on this battery pack, and 53.2 volts is 80% charge. So what I'm saying here is when we're in battery mode, when we get below 20% charge, stop using the batteries, use the mains. When we're above 80% charge, stop using the mains at all. Just use straight battery. Then we got the low voltage alarm at 48 volts. That's about 15% battery. Now the delay off discharge, this matters because off discharge means we're going to turn off discharging the battery. We're going to stop discharging the battery, and we're going to do it after a delay. So at 20% voltage, 20% capacity, we're going to stop discharging the battery if we are below that voltage for long enough. Now immediately off discharge, that's like 10%. So if we get that low, we're just going to shut it off immediately. Now off discharge delay time, that means that we turn off the discharge on the other setting on a delay of 30 seconds is what I set it to. And then over discharge recovery, if we get above 20%, we can resume discharging the battery. Now here's where the zero export runs into issues with people not understanding the naming nomenclature. So time discharge and time charging should be called utility charging and utility discharging, because that's what they are. So to turn on the time charging would be to tell that during the time slot that you tell it, it will, or if you don't give it a time slot, it should just be on. It will charge the batteries from the utility. That means that, it's going to prioritize that, and it's going to keep the batteries very full charged all the time. And we don't want that. We want to use the batteries at night when we're not using the solar. We only want to charge with solar. So I keep time charging off. Time discharging is what I see a lot of misunderstanding with. You have to turn this on for it to send battery power to the utility. In other words, for this to even work, for your batteries to even work on hybrid mode, you have to turn this on. And then you have to tell it this is military time. So at 1800 hours, which is 6 o'clock, I want to say, p.m., we're going to start allowing it to discharge the batteries when there's not enough solar. And then at 8 a.m., we're going to stop discharging the batteries, because we want to only solar charge, and we want to not discharge during the day when we have solar power coming in, because that would defeat the purpose. We want our battery for nighttime usage, so to sustain us. And then I've got it set to that's also called absorption charge, so I've got that to 30 minutes. I think that's fine with our balancer included here. Now back to hybrid. You can see I've set the max battery current to 50 amp, and that's because I don't have enough power to be fully off grid. And if we go crazy in here running all the air conditioners, the freaking washer, dryer, water heater, cooking food, everything all at once, that would drain our battery in literally 1 hour. And I don't want that to happen, so I set that to 50 amps so that basically it can just drain the batteries in about 4 hours if we ran 50 amps the whole time. But I just don't want it to blow our whole battery capacity in one burst of high power usage. So I want it to still pull from the grid in that case, and supplement. We want to supplement because we do not have enough power for off-grid, but we're in hybrid mode right now. So I've got to clean all this up wiring wise and set it up in pass-through mode the way I want. The only caveat to pass-through mode, let's see if we're still not charging right now. We were charging a little bit earlier, but it stopped because those air conditioners got to be running pretty hard right now. Oh look, we've ran out of zero export ability, and we're now pulling 50 watts from the grid on this line. So we ran out of solar for running the house, because we're making more than 1,700 watts apparently. So we're making 1939 and we are using more than 1700 right now. We're only able to use 1667 of the solar. But it does work. You can see we are sitting at 32% battery. This number here, because no BMS connected to it, is a little iffy, but you can just know by the voltage. 51.2 is 20%. We're like, this might be right. I just wanted to make this video to show y'all how to set up your Anenji / watt cycle / no name Amazon. Basically, this inverter is the way. And like I said, in pass-through mode, so we'd be able to pass through if we had battery power and solar power come in, and also we'd be able to use a total of 24,000 watts for the house. But if our batteries were dead and it were nighttime and we only had grid to pass through, we could only pass through 12,000 watts. So we would have to just not be stupid, you know? Just don't be stupid. Don't run everything at once. I mean, like I said, I tried to overload it last night and we did about 5,500 watts. And earlier the hot water heater was on and it was doing 5,500 watts with the hot water heater and the air conditioner. So that's the highest I've seen it so far. And I doubt it'll go above the 12,000 watts ever with the way we use it. So hope y'all get something out of this. And if you like it, and if you want to subscribe to more videos of me, especially car content, there's my girlfriend just pulled up in hers. You can see them all. Maybe think about subscribing. Talk to you later.